Bienvenidas y bienvenidos al podcast de Mr.White. Mr. White versus el podcast.
Saludos amigas y amigos, espero que estén muy bien. Hace unas 5 o 6 semanas me llegó un correo de un meetup con recomendaciones de eventos que podrían interesarme y pues vi un Story Jam de Google Cloud Nuremberg, el cual me pareció bastante interesante. Trataba sobre Machine Learning en Google Cloud Platform y bueno, así que decidí unirme. Vi que tenían un grupo en Slack, el cual también me uní rápidamente, y el día del evento pusieron un enlace de Hangouts al cual pues también me uní y pues me llevó aquella sorpresa, más de 1200 personas de todo el mundo, súper amables, amigables, acompañando durante ese proceso de unas 6 horas para terminar todos los retos de este Story Jam y obtener un certificado oficial, de hecho, respecto a esta comunidad en relación a TensorFlow. Y pues yo honestamente quedé maravillado de la hospitalidad, la amabilidad y el respeto de aquel grupo de personas, mayoritariamente de Europa y de Asia, y la sinergia del grupo pues era bastante increíble. Y me di cuenta que hacen eso todas las semanas. Se unen a aprender un tema en específico, se apoyan y también disfrutan porque son súper amables y pues mejoran todos sus conocimientos. Es por eso que decidí invitar a los fundadores de la comunidad a hablar en este episodio del podcast. Karen y Vladislav Tamrazyan me contaron cómo y por qué construyeron esta comunidad tan increíble desde la bella zona de Bavaria en Alemania. Así que arranquemos. No, thank you so much for taking your time and participating. I feel like this is an amazing time for collaborating, and actually that was what I was talking to Karen. You know, how did you guys build this community around Google Cloud, which I'm very passionate about, and I'm about to take my certification exam, so hopefully I will get it right. But all the tools, all the training you guys have gave is amazing for us, for anyone in the world that is trying to get their certification, trying to improve their knowledge. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk. Like, how do you guys come up with a community that is based on German but has people from around the world? Like I was looking at the Slack, and you guys have people from South America, North America, Asia, all the Europe. So how did this build? How did this happen from? Was it happen from one day to another, or it has been building from years? So how did this happen?
So maybe I can start with a story. And if you want to see a real coverage of our community, you should attend one of our cloud study jams, which we run almost weekly. And we have a nice tradition there. At the beginning, we would ask like to greet everyone, each other. But the second proposal would be to post your location with the flag of your country, and you will see all sorts of flags there, and also different cities and places. What's really nice.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's actually it started mostly offline. You on site. We had at least once in 3 weeks, I would say, we had a meetup on site in Nuremberg. Nuremberg. It's a capital of Franconia here in Bavaria in Germany.
Nice.
And we've got like every meetup was like up to 30 persons, maybe maximum. Sometimes different people, new people, but we have a core team of remaining members which were visiting every meetup. And this situation, with Corona, this whole story, it was a nice push to think about expanding behind the borders, because gathering people on site, it's also, of course, it has its advantages. It's personal touch, and people face to face. You talk to them more, maybe closely, but of course, from the other side, it's also restricting. You cannot you cannot grow and expand as quick and as far as you can having this network capabilities and different meeting platforms like we are using now, for example. And Karen, he is a crazy guy. He always has new ideas, and he's this engine in our community who is thinking about some new horizons all the time and expanding, like putting in new ideas, trying something new. And he proposed to invite people from all over the globe, and it worked. People are joining very very freely, very openly. They help each other. And what I like in our meetups, we really get people who is willing to learn together with us, and who is also ready to give something, not just to receive. They also try to help each other. Sometimes we get very complicated questions, like how to do something special in Google Cloud Platform that maybe we even don't know, although we are quite experienced, but still. And we have people who are helping out with these questions, answering these questions to our members, and it's really great to see how people help each other. I think we were like seeking for such community, and they found it in our community, and they stick to our community, and they return. And this grows. Now we have more than 2,000 members, I guess, already.
Wow, that's huge. That's a huge community. You wanted to add something, Karin?
Yeah, well, this whole situation, it pretty much demands you to go online. I know some communities are just postponing their meetups, their events, what is a little bit pity, I guess. But then those who are active will even drive more people and will involve more people into their actions. And I must point out that this in-person thing was very nice. This is how the whole thing started with our community. It started in August of 2019, last year. But then we quickly spotted that there is a demand for people who are far away to get the knowledge, to get onboarded, to develop themselves further. And this meeting in person only is a kind of limitation for them.
Right.
Exactly. So even this at the beginning of this year, back in January, we started to experiment with online presence, like how we would do this online. We conducted the first online meetup actually in January, and then this Corona situation only amplified the whole our shift to online medium, to online kind of format of running it. And you know what? We talked to Vladislav. He's one of the co-founders, and I'm another one. We started both of us have started this community. We spoke to each other, and we kind of decided, or maybe we changed ourselves to not run in-person meetups anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I will explain you what I mean. Of course, we will see our members who are in Nuremberg or around Nuremberg in neighboring places in person. But I would design it in such a way that people from remote locations, from distant places, would also be able to take part in this kind of events. So it will be kind of hybrid event, what we want to achieve for the future after the Corona crisis.
That is great. That is a great vision, actually. Um,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to, after talking about community and how do you build it, like, why did you decided to make it around like Google Cloud? Why engineers should care about cloud engineering? Like, I see a lot of people that are coming from coding, like coming from actually writing software, being interested more and more on cloud computing and even more on Google Cloud Computing. So I wanted to ask, like, why do you feel we should care about cloud computer nowadays, and even more with this whole situation that's going on around the globe? And why do you feel people are moving also from different sectors to the cloud computing area?
Well, we can speak of both things. Again, communities, why community around Google Cloud, and also about cloud computing in general. It was more of an accident, or like it was not really very thoughtfully planned to run it on the Google network. But um, actually, to be honest, I think Google runs right now the biggest community network worldwide. And there are other big companies, like other big tech companies, which also have very expanded networks. Like one of them would be like Microsoft, for example, and they have it like for many years already ongoing. But Google has this network of Google developer groups, they call themselves. It's for short, it's GDG. And there is another type of these GDGs which is only cloud targeted. It's called GDG Cloud. So Google Developer Networks Cloud. We are one of the cloud chapters. And how it came to life, it was just one of the regular GDG meetups where we were not organizers at all. Kudos to our Android friends from Nuremberg. It was their meetup, just a regular meetup with some grilling going on in August. So I attended this meetup, and then I saw there a really great community manager from Google who came to this meetup also in her free time, to visit these guys in the community, and we met there. And this is how the idea was born to try out not just to run the whole community, but just one single event, one cloud study jam, in our region. And we did it like, I think a couple of weeks after this discussion, we conducted it with Vladislav taking part there and some other members who are like, we saw them for the very first time. And yeah, this is like how we liked it very much. We liked we enjoyed to see people and to connect people and to be around people. And this is how it's all started. We would normally run it, this kind of meetups once a month, but in online format, you don't even have to drive to the location. You can do it from the comfort of your home. So we run it right now, and it was a free time for me, at least in my on my vacation. I just did it like every week.
So it was like many factors came together, and by an accident, it was done with the Google network. But it could be also, even though we could not have find such a great supporter as Google, we could start ourselves. It was not the condition mandatory to start the group. So, and the next, you asked also why cloud. It's also interesting question why people are getting closer to cloud and getting into the cloud. I think it's clear to everyone nowadays that cloud is a huge huge accelerator of nowadays tech. It's easier for many startups to start based on some real infrastructure which is not owned by themselves, which is in the cloud, operated by huge technical companies, very robust, and so they start to benefit from that. Also, huge players which are not that easy to switch to the cloud even started to think to bring at least some parts of the business into a cloud, and new approaches like hybrid cloud. Anthos from Google, for example, this possibility it allows to create combined solutions where you do not put everything into the cloud, but parts of it. And we find this very sophisticated, and seems like a lot of people find this sophisticated as well. And a lot of people are trying to get really professional, to become really professional in this field. That's why they also seek for opportunities to study together, to prepare themselves for different kind of certifications, which we also offer this preparation together. And yeah, I think it's clear cloud is here to stay, and it's the demand for cloud professionals is also very high.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I was reading an article about how demanding right now Google Cloud certification engineers are right now in the market because like the increasing of usage of Google Cloud, like a lot of different companies have moved from other vendors like AWS or Azure to Google Cloud because of speed, because of pricing also, because it's not a surprise that Google is cheaper in their services and they're great. So a lot of companies like Spotify, Apple have moved for their services to the Google Cloud engineer. So that's something to take care. Like if you are into cloud and you feel like you need to understand where is the market moving, I feel like Google Cloud is the way to go. Like 3 years ago, market share was all the way on AWS, and obviously Azure and Google Cloud were really low. But during the last 3 years, Google Cloud has really, really exploded. Like it actually has been taking the market share from AWS and other vendors, and is continuing to grow. And I feel like this it's also about the community they're building around. They're not just building a product, they're building a community, like you said, with the Google community groups, helping people to get their certifications, like not making the technology harder or difficult to investigate, but making it really easy for you to understand and build stuff with Google Cloud. And I feel that that's amazing, and that's also the spirit of the whole community, right?
Yes, exactly. Like Google is from the very beginning a digital company. They're also a cloud company. So basically, almost all of their services, all of their products are cloud based. But they kind of missed a little bit the beginning of this cloud market grow. When AWS initially started the whole trend and follow like leading it until now as a main player, like the leader on the market, on the cloud market. What is also totally makes sense. Amazon is a very smart company, and it has very like innovation in its DNA. It's within the among the employees that have this great 14 principles of Jeff Bezos. Where it's the first one, if I'm not completely wrong, it's to be like customer obsessed. What's really very important, what many companies are actually missing because they maybe just concentrate on their competition or on their own policies or whatever what's important to them, but not always very important to their customers actually. And once you pay attention what your customers really find important and what's important to them, yeah, it's a pretty much the secret recipe, to win the market. And another component, what you just mentioned, I think Google is really very savvy and very smart in building communities. They understand. I think it's very important for any company which has a platform to have a community around it, and especially technical community, because maybe the killer application for this platform, and it's very probable, will not come from your internal developers, but will come from a third-party developer. And you have to nurture this kind of environment. You have to, once you have this connection to developers, you have to carefully listen what they say, what their demands are, what are their pain points. And you can do it really greatly with this kind of communities which you would run. And they have the whole kind of ecosystem going on with technical communities. What is
Hmm.
really a great thing, I think, if you want to involve yourself into community building, into this kind of technical stuff with developers. Well, Google Network is one of the best networks right now. Maybe there are a couple of more others ones, but this one is really huge, what is also giving you advantage to be connected with people all over the world, with the fellow leads of the communities. We, for the last 3 weeks, we run, for example, in our community, we joined forces with communities all over the globe. Some of from are from the States, some of them are from Europe. For the last event, we had people joining, communities joining from Afghanistan, from South Sudan, for example. And we had like more than 500 registered people in total for one of our usual cloud study jams. what is amazing, and we had so many people involved there, and they're so excited when the event is over. They are looking forward, and we are smart. We are just immediately throwing the link to the next event, during the current one, and we see the amount of people is really growing for the next registration, and we listen carefully what they want, what they say, and as I told you already once before the recording, I guess we will just do this. We will not say, yeah, we hear you, maybe we will do this or not. We will just immediately go for it. Some of the ideas will not stick. Well, obviously, like with many ideas, it happens. But some will stick and they will grow and become great ones. And I can tell you like about many examples like this.
That is
When you talk,
go ahead,
I
Vladimir.
remember about the Sundar challenge. I
Yes.
don't know if you already spoke about that with Kevin or not. We had a member, very active member. His name is Sundar. We still have him, thanks God, and he's got an idea how to motivate people. He said, let's organize a competition. Let's give them 2 months, and everyone who will be completing the most amount of labs which we are doing will win at the end of this competition after 2 months. And it was a great idea, and we took this and we called it a Sundar challenge after his member, and it's still going on. I think it ends at the end of June. And then what a great thing that happened after. Some other members they didn't this idea not from them. They were also motivated about it, and they created a live board with the results of the competitors. Now we have a live board which is updated automatically. They created it on from the scratch. It's online, and you can see and monitor how it. Yeah, Karen is showing it right now.
I can see that.
It looks like this. This is the photography of Sundar, and then you see the members and they scores for now, and it's updated in real time. This is done by our 2 members, which got inspired from this idea. Yeah, such ideas, we just try everything our members propose, and some of the ideas getting more resonance, the other ideas not that a lot, but still we just trying everything, because we respect our members. They are equal participants in our community, same as we are. So we're really here to listen carefully to everyone.
That is great. That's great. And that's for me, that's the real inclusion. Like that's what inclusion actually means. Like involving the whole globe. Nothing really matters like where the country is. Like you're all just learning and just trying to make people understand Google Cloud, and that's an amazing goal. That's great. And actually I'm gonna participate on that because I have a few badges since I got my Quick Labs access. I think I have like 15 already, so I think I'm gonna just join and see if
Wow.
I can get it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. And the glue which is sticking our members, like which is like bringing together our members, is fun. I mean, we base our whole community on top of the technology, and this not we are not also crazy about some specific vendor. We are very much like into the cloud computing industry, into DevOps, into technology in general, I would say. For example, this week we will have one event where we will invite people to attend a 5 hours long live course for Scrum studies. And after this event, you will be able to get a free Scrum Foundation certification, which is really great because the Scrum agile methodology like Scrum is an amazing thing for software development in general. And you will see it very frequently in the industry, in software development companies, they would use it. Sometimes they would adapt it to their own kind of environment, but Scrum works. This kind of agile software development works, and this is what we are kind of generalists here. We are interested generally in technology, and if something is there happens what is really interesting for our members, we we will also run it. We will also introduce it in our community. We will see what will stick, will not. And I will give you another bad example of what didn't stick is dancing parties in front of the camera, which I organized last week. And I was like crazy dancing alone 3 hours in front of the camera. Nobody joined me. So probably it will not stick, but I will try a couple of more times and we'll see. Maybe it's just something what people are a little bit shy of. Who knows? We will see. So if anyone is listening to us who will like to join me in the dancing, please do this. We are open to, you see, and it also shows how open we are also to some crazy ideas.
That's crazy. And the world is for the craziest. Like, you know, all the good ideas have come from crazy ideas that nobody really thought at the beginning. And then it actually became ideas. So that's great. Being crazy
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah, like the most innovative probably ideas they once they were incepted, you know, some found some crazy guy who incepted in his head or her head or their head this idea and expressed it to some people. Most of the people probably said like, "Oh, come on, you're just fooling around here. It will never happen. Just do and go and do your regular stuff, you know, or go and just get a normal job or whatever, you know." But for this person, it was not enough, and we will see things like what like a very like poster child of this crazy ideas is, for example, to me is Elon Musk. At least he is a very known person, you know. Who knew that after just running some kind of eBay like payment company, he would turn then to electronic cars company, what was really difficult, and car business in general. You know, he was back in the days, no one and didn't know how to build cars, but learned it along the way. You know, and also like throwing the rockets into the space and dreaming about expanding to Mars. This is all crazy ideas, but knowing this guy, I think he will get it someday.
Right. That's totally true. And actually, like, Elon Musk is, yeah, for me, one of the role models. Like, whatever idea he comes up, and a lot of people is going to say, man, this is crazy. Like, who would have thought 10 years ago when he spoke about making traveling on the space something accessible for everyone, which is what he wants. And nobody really thought about that. It's like, nobody could even imagine that, but he's making it right now, and that's a great role model. So another question I wanted to ask you both, like Vladislav and Karen, is why? Why would you invest time in building a community? Why would you invest time in probably something you're not gonna get paid? And why would you invest time, like for example, Karen just mentioned that he's coming from, he's still on vacation, but he's right here talking about his community. So why? Why would you do this?
Want to start, Karen?
Yeah, I actually don't know why. It just and this is probably I even cannot explain why, and it probably answers the question. This is something like very deeply inside of me. This is also the fun part which we have in the community. It's not only about technology. I think if we would give us something like some different field, like science or whatever, we will also make it fun. Because I mean, you could have very deep scientific conversation, like very which make a lot of sense, you know, and it's everything is great and smart and clever. But if you don't have a fun part, uh, maybe the members will ask next time, okay, it was kind of nice, maybe I can watch recording, but why should I be there in this community and actively participating? You know, you can see, you can grab information nowadays like all over the internet. You don't need to be involved really in the forum discussions. You know, once you search some kind of like try to fix some kind of bug or something like this, you know, you would go to Stack Overflow and you will see all the answers and you will just use this information to improve your code or whatever. It will not necessarily require you to go and involve yourself in these conversations on these forums all over the internet. There should be something else, some some different driver to get involved, to have fun with people, to feel at home, to feel welcome. And some people in our detached world, I think maybe we're even losing this feeling a little bit, because we don't interact in the real world with so many people, and we may be forgetting about this feeling, have friends around, to meet them regularly. But then it will kind of, because the demands of people are still the same, maybe they will cover these demands in a different medium. And this is what we're trying to achieve here, to offer a platform where people will meet. We are merely mediators and maybe sometimes moderators, but we are very much like hands off when it comes to the community. And this is intentional, because we don't like this kind of hierarchical systems. I think the community itself is beautiful and great, and they can manage a lot of things on their own. They don't have to have a boss here, a manager, or somebody like this. And this is how we see each other as well.
For me, Kevin, answering your question, it's obvious. We do it because we are humans. Humans are tend to attract each other, to collaborate, to exchange, and this is what we are exactly doing in our community. And just an example, as a student, I remember I was much more productive doing stuffs, preparing myself to exams together with other students in my dorm. Every time when I tried to do it myself, I failed or was closely failing the exam. And we were doing the preparation together. I got something new and explained from other from mates. I explained them something else, and we were not just studying. We were eating between cooking together. I was doing my push-ups, regular gym stuffs. We were doing a lot of stuffs together, and it was a great time. We learned a lot, and we were like very also very happy about it. So this is for me best explanation why we do it, because we are social we are humans, we are social kind, and that explains for me. And that's why for Karen the answer was, I don't know why, because it's natural. You don't need to explain it even. It's
That's
I
true,
hope
and
you
that's great, because like maybe other person will say, well, I do it because I like to get exposure, or maybe because I get, I learn new stuff. But the way that you answer, that's great, because it's very humble. Like, we're humans, we like to be social, we like to help people, and this is not about you. It's not about what you get. It's about what you do for the other people. It's about other people gets from you. And that's a great answer. Like, being humble at that level, like sacrificing your time so the other peoples can actually learn. It's actually great. So in collaborating that way to the community, I feel like that's a very noble way to work.
Yeah, I think it will be partially also be the future of work, where you will have not very hierarchical systems, which are based on salaries and this kind of old school incentives, but maybe something different, some different drivers, maybe some social drivers involved into with people, to get further. Like, and we are the ones who are experimenting a lot with these things, with social behavior, and how we can even more incentivize our members to be committed to studies, in our case, to in professional growth. We are pretty much stand out when you compare us with similar GDG communities. What GDG network provides, supported by Google, they run a lot of events. They can offer you a lot of opportunities to take part in, but it's completely up to the community leads to actually decide to run it in their communities. What I find also a little bit pity, because some people will have no time, some leads will have no time to run particular events in their communities, but it doesn't mean that the community wouldn't like to have them. It's a kind of a little bit even bottleneck sometimes. I can understand it because a personal time is limited, and we do it in our spare time, in our free time. Um, so what we do in our community, we let a lot of our members to decide where to attend and where to take part. We have like uh, to keep constantly in contact. We use Slack software. It's a messaging software between the members, and sometimes it's used at work as well. In our case, we use it for community binding, to stay in touch in between the meetups. And we have a special channel there called announcements, and everyone can post anything there. So if they find something valuable, some kind of event going on, it doesn't matter, and it shouldn't be necessarily a Google event. It could be a competitive like event, something like coming from a competition, for example. It doesn't matter. We are genuinely interested in technology, and our members will just take part if it's something interesting going on. Yeah, this is what I wanted to add.
That's great. That's great. So I see in the call somebody else joined. Raha, I don't know if you wanna share something. Well, tell us where you're from first of all.
Hi, my name is Raja. I'm from India, but living in
Wow,
Germany for the last 6 years.
nice.
Sorry for the background noise.
That's okay.
I met Vlad and Karen in one of the meetups in Nuremberg in person, and they're really cool, smart, and welcoming. And I'm really impressed to see how the community grew online, especially if I look at the Slack channel. When I first met in the Nuremberg group, I think there were like 10, 15 members, and I only met them once in person. But yeah, they're wonderful people, and the community you guys grew, Karen and Vlad, you should be proud. I'm really proud of you guys.
Thank
Nice.
you, Raja. I remember that
Thank you.
day then Raja came with two friends, also very smart guys, and we have talked a lot. We stayed until late after the meetup finished. We still chatted with each other, and yeah, it's very great when you meet such people on site. And then they continue even in this difficult time. They find time and come and join us and contribute a lot in this community, making it grow, also spread the word about it. So we really value a lot, Raja, your support, and thanks for coming today as well. It's great to hear
Yeah,
to hear you today.
it's great to have you. Actually, thank you, Raja. I'm hosting here from
And
Costa
thanks to
Rica.
you, Kevin, for yeah, thank you, Kevin, for hosting us and giving us a chance to speak on your podcast.
Sure. No, thank you. Definitely, it's great to have you. So so this is probably a question for the three of you. Some of the people that listen to our podcast and watch our videos are people that are might be into cloud or might not be into cloud, and maybe for some of them when they sign in into Google Cloud and they see all of these platforms. They see Compute Engine, they see App Engine, Cloud Functions, they see Kubernetes orchestration. I mean, the whole menu is huge, a lot of services, a lot of stuff to do, and people might feel overwhelmed. What would you say is a good way to start? Obviously, your community, that's great, in the labs you do every day, the study jams. But as in general, what would you say is a good way to start in the cloud and Google Cloud specifically, maybe for those who don't know really much or feel lost about it? Like, what would you say are great tools or great platforms to get started and have actually a path to continue learning about this?
If you let me to start, maybe
Yes.
just shortly, the labs we are doing every week, we do it with help of Quick Labs, this platform, which is giving you a set of instructions, and you can just follow the instructions. It's quite clearly explained. But still, for some people, it can be difficult to follow them. So I would suggest to start from the very first essentials lab, which is not that complicated, which explains you how the Google Cloud Platform works, how it looks, and also how Quick Labs looks and checks your progress while doing the labs. But even if that is complicated, we have such a great community members. I will mention here Omar, who made very nice video walkthrough through this essential lab, I guess. He took this lab and he did it himself, and he recorded everything with he put it in a video and then published it in YouTube. And with his comments, he's doing a lab and commenting, and you get for very beginners, it will be very valuable, because you read these instructions from Quick Labs, and you get this explanation from Omar, which is even putting more value in these instructions. He explains really very clear, and it's nice start, I would say, for the beginners who want to try out Google
great.
Cloud Platform.
This suggestion of Omar about the onboarding of new people to the Quick Labs learning platform actually came at the very same evening where the Sundar challenge was incepted as well. So it was a very fruitful day for us. But you see, we just got two ideas within the regular chat like we are doing right now with you guys. And out of this conversation, we created two projects going on right now. Oh, it is great. And I want to once we talk about learning new technologies, and for people who are new to cloud computing, it will be definitely new. So my approach to it is to start with the basics, to just maybe to walk, search on the internet, what is actually cloud computing, what are the advantages, what makes a difference to, for example, like some kind of shared hosting, what is like for decades already. What are the advantages? How you can build kind of new solutions with this? What is it good for? And then whatever you see, some kind of strange new terms, my strategy is always to record them, like put a kind of note file, some notes, and put it there. Maybe it's not yet clear for you, but as you will stumble across your learning path, you will stumble more frequently upon these terms, you will see that it's probably something important what I should know. So once you will get a chance to get deeper into this specific technologies, which maybe could be overwhelming for the beginning, but don't lose this information. Collect whatever you don't know yet, like even write the questions in a form of question. What is actually this kind of Hadoop or like big data? What is behind big data? So write it for yourself somewhere, store it, but you will gradually get deeper into this thing. Despite we are on a Google Cloud community, we are not cloud people at all. Like two of us, we are pretty much generalists, when it comes to technology. And as Vlad said already in the beginning, cloud is here to stay because it has so many advantages. But we are not crazy about cloud. It's just one piece of the puzzle. It's a very big piece because you have behind the cloud you have many technologies which is provided to you. You can do a lot of stuff.
Right.
These are actually platforms. It's not a specific technology. But I think the future is even bigger for stuff like managed container orchestration and stuff like this, because you can run small pieces of code within these containers. You can scale out it very quickly, like make your project and capacity even bigger in a very short time. You can run it as well as in cloud, but also on premises. And pretty much you will get all the advantages of cloud computing we have nowadays on your own premises if you want. So yeah, I think that will be huge in the upcoming days and maybe even years. Um, that's why I would really recommend, if you are into this, if you got with along with cloud, and if you got some certification, like for example, what you try to achieve right now, this foundations Google certification for Google Cloud. I would recommend as a next step, if you are interested in this kind of technologies, go for Kubernetes certification from, for example, there are some authorities which release them, but I think Linux Foundation is a very reputable one. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. And Rasha, I don't know if you want to add something.
Yeah, sure. So the example that Vlad and Karen mentioned about Omar, that's really helpful for the new people who are onboarding into a new technology. Um, but also at the same time you should be lucky and in a group like this to get such kind of a mentorship, right? A virtual mentorship at least. So at times in my teams, when I get new members joining, and if they need to work on the cloud, what I try to do is try to find a reference point, try to find out what they already know, and try to see a relation or how I can correlate between what they know and what is the cloud that we're talking about. So if they know what the current virtual machines or a physical machine, or if they have experience with Java, for example, if they know a web server, an app server, a Tomcat or a JVM, I try to find something that they are comfortable with and try to draw parallels with the new technology, how that would compare to a new technology. And sometimes if you find a person who is not that well versed with the deployment of an application, like the person only wrote code all the time, he or she, or they never got a chance to deploy, for example, then for them it would be much more difficult to understand what all these cloud components are and how they're related to each other and how they're significant. Then I take a basic path of trying to ask them to, yeah, go to this website, navigate and see what it is doing and where it might be going. Then slowly introduce them to high level components, like maybe for example, if you open a website, the image is loaded for the first time, but when you refresh, it doesn't load again. It's there already. So how is it happening? And also, if you inspect the headers, you see something like an Akamai, but Akamai is not part of your application stack. Where is it coming from? Who owns it? Why is it there? So like you progressively ask the questions and take one step closer to where their code sitting. So how your code is accessible to the end user, and what is the path, what are all the components in between, and what they are made of. Are they made of AWS components? Are they made of Google components? And how they can be interchangeable with each other. So I try to find a relation and a correlation with what they know, and how you can fill with different components from different cloud technologies. Sometimes, at least I noticed it helping people to an extent that they feel comfortable, and at least they find a way how to learn on their own going forward.
That is great. That is a great advice, actually. Thank you so much, Raja. Um, the last question, unfortunately running out of time for this episode, but I will be happy to have you again at some point. But as the last question I wanted to ask you is that for some people that I've talked, um, some coworkers, some friends, they always mention that they feel overwhelmed about how many things are there to learn. Like there's not enough time to learn everything, and that's true. And they feel overwhelmed. Like that, for example, for an engineer right now, there's not only there's no need not only to understand one single thing, but also learn a lot of and understand a lot of stuff. And when you see the quick labs, when you see a lot of the documentation, you see that other platforms correlate with other technologies. Like for example, we see a lot how Google Cloud obviously correlates with data science, and you see how much also they correlate with artificial intelligence. So the question I wanted to ask you is, how much should a person that is right now focusing on building cloud solutions should also take care of understanding data science and understanding artificial intelligence? Or maybe they just focus on one thing and then try to move? Or maybe would you say that it's better to have a good sense about the overall infrastructure, about not only cloud, but also how artificial intelligence connects to, I don't know, let's say a big table database, or how to run a big query for data science? How do you say a person should also take care about all of this technology around cloud solutions?
Mhm. Yeah,
If I may add,
yeah,
I
go on.
follow something I read somewhere that you should follow something called T, the shape of T. So you make your foundations in one technology, you go deeper, and around that you build T. So you increase your breadth. So once you're comfortable in let's say a programming language or administration, choose one thing that you are good at, or be good at it, become good at it, become an expert. And then once you're comfortable there, then slowly start adding new armor into your collection. So that is something I advise, instead of trying to jump into every new toy that comes into market. That's when you get overwhelmed, and over the period of time you get burned out. focusing on too many things, and you feel the like I'm missing out, or maybe I'm lacking in that area, and everyone is doing a certification or everyone completing the quick labs here, but I'm not able to do it. You don't have to. Everyone doesn't have to be doing everything. So build expertise in one area and then focus on other things, and over the period of time, you will also become stronger in other areas. So that's what I advise, and I personally follow that.
I
Karen.
agree absolutely. It's nice advice from Raja. I think it's nice way to go.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
advice.
to learn the battlefield and then to specialize yourself in some specific stuff. And I think in this field, it makes sense not to see what is like highest paying field. Like for example, security is known to be within our high tech industry to be the most highest paid. But I mean, if you don't really like it, if it's not something you can associate yourself with, what's not a very big concern for you, maybe you have to pick some other technology which is also growing and interesting, but what appeals to you more. In this way, you will stick around this, and with this technology, like for a longer time, you will be passionate about it. You will not be asked by your manager or whomever to get involved. You will involve yourself because you like it. This is what you can think of. Maybe something what you can also apply in your private life. Not, if security is not your thing, just don't chase it because today it's the most highest paid job. Or it applies also to cloud computing. Maybe some people are passionate about running their own stuff, so maybe they have to look at containers and managed systems on premises, something like this. It could be a little bit also individual thing because they seem to be like some people are generalists. They like to have a big picture what's going on generally in the technology, and don't they can go deeper into some specific stuff, but not for a very long time. They have at some point they have to return back to this higher level view to see where this whole in a strategical level, like where this whole thing goes. And I think there are jobs and there is opportunity for this kind of people as well. While most of the people are probably are thought to be a specialist in some specific fields, and then Raja's advice perfectly works here. Just see different things, what's going on in the industry, and stick with the topics which are closer to your heart. This
That's
would be
true.
my opinion.
That's true. That is a great advice too. Like either focusing or being a generalist. I think both are fine, but defining the path. It's the first start. Like defining the path is really important. Well, okay. Well, thank you very much, Vladislav, Karen, Rasha. Sorry if I mispronounce your name at some point, but being from Latin America, that's a bit complicated.
Yeah.
Um,
Excuse. No worries.
so, just curious, how do you pronounce your last name, Vladislav and Karen?
It was very close. It's Vladislav. It's actually almost
Last,
100%.
but
Cool.
Yeah.
Kevin asks about the last
Last,
name.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. It's actually Tamrazyan.
Tamrazyan. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Yeah, you did a great job.
And
Yeah.
what about you, Rasha? How do you pronounce your full name? I'm really curious.
Okay, my full name is Rajashekar Reddy Pedde Reddy.
Well, it's great to have you here. I mean, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Kevin, for inviting us. It was really nice to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And for closing, I would like to invite you and invite everyone who's listening for the next chapter, the next topic. We're gonna have another guest from, in this case, from the United Kingdom, from London. And she, because it's gonna be a woman, and that's great to have women in this field, which is something that is sometimes hard to find, and that is great that women are actually taking on the technology side. I feel amazed about that. And actually she, and her name is Serov Bembosa, she's a data engineer at Vodafone in the United Kingdom, and she actually also has a Google Cloud certification she just earned quite a few days ago. and she's going to talk about actually women in the artificial intelligence area and how women are taking on artificial intelligence and in tech overall. So it's going to be a great chapter. So I will let you know about the information, how to join and how to participate. And I'm really happy to have her. I'm very excited too. So for everyone listening and for you also, I am sending this invitation, and it's going to be an amazing talk too, as the one that we just have. So thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Looking forward for the next.
Thank you,
meeting.
Kevin, for having us.
No, thank you, and have a great evening on your side. It's right now 11 in the morning here, so I'm probably gonna have lunch in a few. So have a great evening and a great night, and see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you
See
very
you.
much. Same to you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.